No one in their right mind is operating that thing like on the daily. So that whereas the Tesla Plaid, that one was driving, the first one, that would be like you could still take your kids to school in that thing, is what it appears. I could be wrong. Go and figure it out. It's a good day. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It does help the channel. I am just seeing in my social media, the news feed, the YouTube channel, the algorithm is chasing me and feeding me Porsche content, obviously, I suppose. The Turbo GT beats Laguna Seca lap time with a 127 point something, which if you think about that in and of itself is crazy, mind-blowing to me. I've owned a Senate. It is mind-blowing fast, and to think that you can do that in a 4,600 pound ish, you'll see the ish because they pulled out like plastic, and anyway, they did some things to that car. The thought of this in a 4,600 pound electric car to do that just like silently is amazing. It probably will end up being the solution for that area around the track at Laguna Seca. I know the track is getting sued actively by someone arguing about the noise. I know they have noise. They got to find a new noise solution, and this might just be it. I own a Taycan, so I daily drive a Taycan. I know people talk shit about Taycan and don't like it, and it's heavy boat and all that stuff. I'm telling you, it drives different. Like I've driven the Tesla. I've done that, and the Taycan is different. I know it's heavy. I agree, it's heavy. However, if I make some adjustments on that thing, I feel like it's pretty pointed. And if I'm willing to like strip the back seats out and then go full Visac, and I suspect Manti had some influence on this, obviously, in how they set up the day. You can see that in some of these videos coming out with the Porsche content of these guys going out and doing it. So they beat the record, and I looked at that. So Tesla Plaid did it, and I don't really know what support they had, but it didn't look like it had the Porsche support. I'll tell you that. It looked like just a dude on a weekend driving a Plaid. Like that's kind of and it was 5 seconds slower. That was than what this Taycan Turbo GT did. Yeah, sure. It's definitely 5 seconds faster than that. But look at what you did. And now let's look at that car. Look at that car. So they do the walk around and they first show you the car that beat the record. And they're like, oh, you had to put in the roll cage per regulations for Laguna Seca. I don't know. We can look at the clip, but I don't think so. Maybe. I mean, I haven't driven Laguna Seca, but I don't think you had to have the full roll cage in there. I mean, I thought this was supposed to be street legal car. And we've seen some street legal stuff like Hennessy, Venom, F5. When I happened to be out there with Rafa Racing, great group, they were out there trying to beat the record at Circuit of Americas. And then they're like, but since we added that weight in, we needed to get rid of some plastic, right? And this thing is stripped. This thing is gone. It has the basics. I guess it still needs to be street legal, so it has to have airbags. I don't know. We had to pass a safety crash. But then they walk over and show you the actual demo car of what it is. And I'm like, no. Put somebody in that and drive that thing around and see if it beats it. The car they beat the record with wasn't street legal. It was street legal, I suppose. No one in their right mind is operating that thing like on the daily. So that whereas the Tesla Plaid, that one was driving, the first one, that would be like you could still take your kids to school in that thing, is what it appears. I could be wrong. Go and figure it out. I'm not a Tesla fanboy. I'm just we got to compare apples to apples here, because I go to the track and I look at these lap times and I'm like, okay, like that matters when you know how this is set up, because 5 seconds is massive on a track of 90 seconds. Like that's massive. That's a big difference. And so we got to poke into that a little bit. Apparently the Visac package gets rid of your back seats, which at this point, why are we driving a Taycan? At this point, why are you selecting the Taycan as your option to drive? That is the only reason why I have the Taycan as an option to drive. One, I want the electric. Judge me. That's fine. I don't care. I want the electric because I can plug that shit in and I don't go to the gas stations, which means what? I get all that time back. Free, easy, done. I can do that. when we look at the Taycan and what they were trying to pass off as their street legal car, not street legal. Okay. What I take that back. It was street legal from a practical standpoint. Like it wasn't the Plaid. It wasn't that first Plaid that they beat by 5 seconds. Okay, fair, fine. So then we look at a couple comparisons. One is the Tesla Plaid did the unplugged performance version of it, right? And it's faster than the Taycan ViSec packaged Turbo GT. Now, granted, when we look at the unplugged performance version, that's 2 race car. They've removed airbags. They've gone. So again, Randy drove that one too. That guy's, I mean, he's legit. He's legit. That was full race car. That's too far one way. So hats off to what Porsche did. However, it wasn't a real 5 seconds. It was somewhere in between that. It was, so you got to compare apples to apples. That's a little bit unfair. You would have won still, I believe, Porsche, because Porsche, hurrah. Anyway, that's my take.